Oh, welcome into the FTN Fantasy Best Ball Draft Weekly Series. We are going to bring you here at FTN Best Ball Drafts each and every week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Mark your calendar. Myself, Mike Randle, and I have the expert, the guest, the man who's going to destroy me today in best ball, but who's here today to give you his knowledge. Sam Chowdhury, follow him on Twitter at SC_FFB. Sam, thank you for joining us here. We're going to be doing it all through the summer, but we're kicking it off here tonight. How you doing?
I'm great. It's always a good day to draft some best ball. Couldn't be better.
Yeah, man, I have to tell you, I have done 31 best ball drafts. I just can't stop. It's a problem. You are the expert. You've been so critical in our FTN best ball guide, which was brilliant. Put so much of that stuff together. You and Tyler Lochner here. So to have you on is absolutely fantastic so we can take a look. I've done it by volume. I feel, Sam, like I'm the Rocky guy. I'm the one who's going to just go volume after volume, repetition. The kid in the back of the class, you're the A-plus student. I'm the one who's just trying to memorize everything to get myself into play here. But I have picked up, Sam, 5 things that I want to get your take on here as we go through. I'll put the graphic up, and then we'll get started here with the best ball draft. First thing let's talk about is late round QB. I have found myself, Sam, going through a lot of drafts, and I don't like taking QBs early. I'll get your thoughts on it in a minute, but found myself going late round QB, and I think there's a ton of value there. There are quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, who I like, who I know everybody think is broken, but he's available very late, and we've seen him perform at an elite level. Jared Goff, if you like the Lions. I mean, Desmond Ridder even, who's a locked-in quarterback for an Atlanta team that everyone loves. Talk about your quarterback strategy a little bit. Is there any late-round quarterbacks that you find yourself sort of targeting?
Yeah, I think the late round QB makes a lot of sense. It wouldn't have worked really last year, but I think the market is sort of overreacting to what we saw last season. There wasn't a lot of late round QBs that hit, and it was mainly because a lot of the earlier guys, I guess Jalen Hurts was sort of middle to early.
Yep.
But a lot of the top guys that you see go in the second round now, they separated so much from the rest of the field. So as a result of last year, we're seeing a lot of these guys go in the second round. And I don't think that late round QB is dead. I think we should think of last year as more of an outlier season and sort of fall back on really what was successful for most fantasy seasons, where you can hit on the late round QB and you smash on the early picks, and that could be crucial for your advance rate. So I'm with you there. I like a lot of the late round quarterbacks. I think the one tough thing is, you mentioned Russell Wilson earlier. The only way you can draft Russell Wilson is if you have a Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton beforehand. A guy I really like is Geno Smith, but the thing is, I can't draft him unless I have DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, JSN before. So I think that's the one thing that I'm struggling with. I think a target of mine is Jared Goff, because I'm drafting a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So it really still goes with the guys he drafted earlier for the most part.
Yeah, that right on. Goff is, see, we're buying into the Lions. We like the fact that they averaged over 31 points per game at home last year. We like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs, we'll talk about him later. I mean, just skyrocketing right now, RB 14 here in Underdog, but we don't like Jared Goff. I think that's a mistake, especially in that division. Let's go number 2. My second point here was on the RB dead zone. I normally avoid these running backs going either robust RB or zero RB and waiting, but I have found myself, Sam, sort of gravitating towards some of these RBs. We'll see what happens tonight between rounds 3 and 6. Guys that I've loved here, that I've targeted. I mean, Joe Mixon is starting to climb, but there was a lot of uncertainty about 3 weeks ago with Joe Mixon. I mean, he was dropped out. I get it because of the off-the-field concerns, but if he's the starting running back for Cincinnati, right now going as RB19, that's a tremendous value. Cam Akers ended the year with 3 straight 100-yard games. I know the Rams aren't real sexy, but he's locked in. Alexander Madison, of course, with Dalvin Cook, who looks like he's going to be traded, released, or something, could ascend to an RB1 role. And then David Montgomery going at RB28, right at or behind Javonte Williams, who's still injured, is mystifying to me, especially, Sam, when we saw Jamal Williams last year put in a ton of touchdowns for Detroit. So let me give you thoughts on the RB dead zone, those middle round running backs. Aren't they kind of appealing? Maybe I'm off on that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love the RB dead zone. And I mean, the last 3 years of the Best Ball Mania, I've almost completely avoided these dead zone running backs. Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, if you consider the running back dead zone from rounds 3 to 6, you can get Derrick Henry at the top of the 3rd round. And, it's always popular. I feel like every season we say to fade Derrick Henry, but this is a guy that we were fading at the end of the 1st round. And now we're getting him at the top of the 3rd round. And even me, I've always been sort of underweight on Derrick Henry. I would never cross him out completely from my portfolio because we've seen these massive ceiling performances that he's had. I mean, we can take this to a DFS lens. Whenever Derrick Henry's chalky, it's always kind of scary to fade him. But, when we're doing 150 drafts in past years, I still wanted to have some Derrick Henry. But now I can't stop clicking him at the top of the third round. And even with Josh Jacobs, I know you mentioned I saw a tweet from you earlier that you might be underweight on Josh Jacobs. But even, I mean, and I get all the concerns with the touch volume that you got from him last year. Historically, it's a Jimmy Garoppolo-led offense, so I understand being lightweight to him. But any other year, you see a top 3 running back. The next season, he's locked into the mid to back end of the 1st round. That's another guy that you're spending 3rd round capital on him. I mean, you can do the whole hero RB approach and starting with the dead zone running back. So I really like that. And certain drafters, they have these strategies sort of built into their head. For example, if you go hero RB, it has to be with the round 1 or round 2 RB, but you push it. You went as far as Joe Mixon. I mean, why not make a hero RB, but you start with the running back in the 5th to 6th round, and that completely goes off the board. And that's a guy that I feel comfortable as my RB1 and pushing the envelope for RB2 even longer. So I'm completely in line with you there.
Excellent point about Derrick Henry. I could be wrong with Josh Jacobs, definitely, because it's maybe it's a blind spot. Sometimes you get in these running backs, and he was certainly very proficient last year. Big point about Derrick Henry to back you up here. Houston twice, weeks 15 to 17 during the fantasy playoffs there for Derrick Henry. So that's a really good point. Only a couple more things that we'll get started. We talked about finding the stocks. We'll get into that as we draft. Inflection players, Bijan, Herbert, Goddard, and Ridley. Here are my thoughts, and then respond. Bijan, of course, to Bijan or not to Bijan. We know the situation with Ezekiel Elliott. We saw Saquon Barkley's rookie year, so people are naturally following that with Bijan. But RB2 to me, Sam, is his ceiling, of course. Justin Herbert, I think, is a guy who's at quarterback 7 right now. Kellen Moore coming over to the Chargers could definitely be the MVP this year, could definitely have a career season where he ends up as the QB1 or QB2. So there could be value there. Dallas Goedert is always a line of demarcation. He is a top flight tight end, in my opinion, in that Eagles offense. Was hurt last year, came back, gets a lot of targets. I know there's other things going on there, but at the tight end position, I think he's a value. Around tight end 7 is sort of as low as I want to go for my first tight end. And then Calvin Ridley, who I think is fascinating because I'm in on the Jacksonville offense. Their win total, I think, is 10.5. People like Jacksonville this year, but are we sure that he's better than Christian Kirk at 2 years away from football? Is just going to step right in. So let's just go through them quickly. Bijan, thoughts, overall RB2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't knock the whole argument with what we've seen with Barkley and Zeke, but the fact that he goes so many picks before Austin Eckler, a guy that's falling to the back of the 1st round, not to mention all the wide receivers going after him. I have no problem with taking Bijan Robinson in the 1st round, but RB2 overall, I mean, I can't get there. I have one draft with Bijan. I got him at 12. This was probably the first week that Best Ball opened, and he was a 2nd round pick then when the ADPs were so adjusting, and I just knew there was no way he was going to be at 12. So I knew if I was going to get Bijan, like I got to get him now. But if he's going to stay at RB2 overall, and I'm a guy where I'm cool diversifying, but in the 1st round, I'm going to be getting my guys. Like I'm pretty big on player takes in the early rounds when I feel pretty strong about it. And I don't know if I want a running back, I don't know if I'll ever be able to take Bijan over Eckler unless I get massively overweight. So that's a guy that I'll be pretty underweight on as well.
Yeah, and now moving forward, Justin Herbert, do you see what I see? I mean, is it I don't like going quarterback early, but Herbert's the guy that makes me think. I just don't know. I guess I would stack with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson. Thoughts on Herbert here, because it's the Kellen Moore syndrome. I just remember what he did with Dak Prescott, especially the year, those 5 games before Prescott was knocked out the whole year. They were posting like 35 points per game, Sam.
Yeah, so my highest exposure player as of right now is Keenan Allen. So naturally I'm going to be pretty overweight on Justin Herbert. And I actually feel pretty great about Keenan Allen. I want to say he's up around 7-ish spots since Ball Mania opened. And that doesn't seem like a big deal. But in the first 4 rounds, when a guy moves up like that, that's a pretty massive edge to be overweight on someone like that. And one thing that I like about Justin Herbert is we were sort of taking him as he was like, I want to say he was QB2 or QB3 overall last season. And I think he was right after Allen before Mahomes. Yeah, maybe that was a mistake then. But when you look at it, his ADP around 49 to 50-ish right now, I want to say, that's about exactly where he was last year. The only thing is we have change, and he just ran terrible. Numbers were rib injury that he picked up. That was lingering with him all year long. He didn't miss any games, but there was a chance that, he wasn't up to speed. He had 3 or 4 games where Mike
Yeah, you're going in a little bit
Williams
in
and Keenan Allen are 2 off.
Yeah,
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's all right. You were going a little bit in and out, but I agree with you about Justin Herbert. I think right now around that QB7 could be a critical spot for him. I remember I got Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. That was the spot. They were sort of falling down to the middle. People were a little unsure, and they ended up hitting it and going forward. So I agree. Let's get into the draft, and we'll go back to the other guys as well. So, Sam, I'm going to hit it here. I'm going to enter. We'll enter at the same time. Hopefully, we'll work this out here. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's hit it. 1, 2, 3.
All right, 6 more to start. 5.
I'm in. I think you're in also.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I think, sort of the connection's kind of funky. Can you hear me right now?
Oh, you're good. Yeah, no, you're great. It was just went in and out a little bit. That's all.
Cool.
Here, waiting to go. We got 5. Yeah, and that's the other thing that I'm focusing on too is I want the stacks. I think the Chargers absolutely will put points up. Waiting for one more person, then I think we'll be ready to go.
Yep.
There we go. Let's see what we got. I am pick 6. Where Sam, you are 4. This is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic here. Pick 6 for me and 4 for you. So you're going to go right. So as we're getting ready, talk to me here. What's your process here for pick 4?
Yeah, so it looks like I'm going to be between Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp, and that's a really tough one for me. I'm getting a lot more Cooper Kupp, so I don't know. I feel like I mentioned that I'm big on player takes. This is one that I don't want to be too overconfident about. Most drafts I have been taking Cooper Kupp over Tyreek Hill, so I may lean that way, but
that's interesting because I don't have a ton of exposure
I
to
think
Tyreek.
Again, go with Tyreek because I need to mix him in a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of exposure to either player. You know what I mean? It's interesting because I get Tyreek and 2 is hanging around for a while. So number 1 is on the clock here. Obviously, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. McCaffrey, Jefferson, right? All the stuff that we do. There we go. Jefferson first. You're up, big man. Jefferson.
I'm going to go with Tyreek.
Tyreek, fair enough. Yep. Let's see here. Looks like I am on the clock. Oh, my God. Well, I'm not going Bijan. We know I'm not doing that. I really like CeeDee Lamb here. I do. I don't think I'll be able to get Stephon, to get Amon-Ra. We're going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I want exposure to that. I just think the volume could be there for him.
Sorry, I think I'm like losing connection on the stream. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but wow,
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb, I really like that pick.
We got a couple comments here, Sam. I'll bring them up on the bottom. What do you think of the Dolphins stack with Hill, Waddle, Tua, Smythe? I like the Smythe call there, T. Jones. What do you think there, Sam?
Yeah, I absolutely love the Dolphin stack. That's one where the offense is so condensed. When you lock up Tyreek and Waddle, you almost have the entire passing offense locked up. And I think there's a pretty big edge into overstacking, but with a Dolphins team, you're not really overstacking when you're grabbing 2 pass catchers, but you really only need those the offense to hit, and everything's going to go through those 2 guys. So I'm pretty heavy on the Dolphins stack. A lot of times I'll go with just Tyreek or just Waddle, but I'm completely okay with double stacking. I really like the Week 17 matchup against Baltimore. So
Sam, I see Travis Kelce going here at 8. I just struggle to go early round tight end because you've got to hit it, Sam. It's got to be, it's almost like going early round QB, you know? And Underdog, we're half PPR. I get it. But look, I don't know. I struggle with the Travis Kelce because he's got to keep producing at that level to justify it, no?
yeah, I'm pretty into Travis Kelce. I think if I was doing one draft, I think I would make the case that he should be a top 3 pick. Just
Okay.
because, I mean, I said we can't just look at last year's results and sort of translate it to this season, but we know who Travis Kelce is, and just the separation that he provides at the tight end position is massive. And we can talk about Waddle again, the second round. I mean, what's a bigger drop off? The difference between Justin Jefferson to Jalen Waddle, who goes to the back of the second round, or Travis Kelce and insert the next tight end here,
That's a good point.
And
That's a really good point. I get it.
yeah,
I get it. And you know what? I guess I find value, Sam, in the Kansas City wide receiver. I may be the only guy, but I love taking Sky Moore. So maybe that's naturally also my focus. As I'm saying, I want other production there, but can't argue. He plays 16 games. He's going to more than justify that pick. That's for sure. It gives you an advantage every week. Coming around the turn here, we see Waddle go, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson early. I don't know, Sam. Garrett Wilson in 1 year. I get it, but I don't know.
yeah. I'm a big Ohio State fan. Live in Ohio, so I love Garrett Wilson in college. But I mentioned earlier a guy that I like is Amon-Ra, and just because I have Amon-Ra ranked above Garrett Wilson,
Yep.
and
there it goes. I wanted him. That's who I wanted, Sam, right there.
Damn, yeah. So just naturally, I'm going to be underweight if Garrett Wilson's ADP is higher. So, yeah, I think the market is a little too confident in Garrett Wilson, even with Aaron Rodgers. But I can't hate it too much.
I love to double tap CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra. I get a late first round pick. I do it all the time. Here I was hoping he'd drop, and he did not. All right, Olave goes. I am on the clock. Wide receivers. Boy, it's hard for me to pass on DK Metcalf. I'm going to take Saquon here, Sam. I don't think I have enough Saquon, to be honest with you. So I'm actually going to grab a running back. I'm going to take Saquon, something I have not done for a while here, putting you up on the clock there. I normally go wide receiver, and now you are on, sir.
And here's a guy that I don't get much of, but I like a lot. I'm going to go with Nick Chubb here.
Oh, nice.
I mean, we've seen what this guy can do in a part-time role in the Browns offense, and the ceiling is just massive thinking about what he can do with, it's Jerome Ford after him. That's another Cincinnati guy who I like a lot. But Nick Chubb if he gets 70% of snaps, it's insane to think about what he can do in that offense.
It's a great call. Sam, I'm very bullish on Cleveland as a whole here. I always try to find Amari Cooper at some point. If he's still available, maybe my third pick here. I like this Cleveland attack. I know we're down on Deshaun Watson, but the line should be better. The defense should be good. I think this Browns team's very improved. And remember, Watson came back, played a couple games. Remember, it's still a guy who went quarterback 5, quarterback 2, quarterback 5, 3 years before. So you're coming up here pretty quick. Breece Hall goes to start round 3.
And I'm really eyeing Devontae Smith over here. We'll see if this draft gives him to me.
There goes Henry.
Oh,
he just went, Sam. Oh, my goodness.
And we're going to go with DK Metcalf.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I would have taken him if he was there. Very good call. Okay, waiting here to see on the clock. I'll get at my third pick. It's been Amari Cooper, Sam, every time because I just see him as Ramondre. That would have been a good one too, Ramondre. Let's check it out here. There's Debo, there's Ridley, there's Cooper, Judy. Check out the running backs too. I'm going to go with Najee Harris. That's who I'm going to take here. I think Najee Harris, Sam, is being very overlooked. This is a guy who has everything that we want. He gets the majority of touches. There's limited competition with Jalen Warren behind him. The offensive line has improved. It's a quarterback in Kenny Pickett that they're going to have a relatively conservative game plan for. And he's one of the few guys in Mike Tomlin. When you get to that goal line, it's going to Najee. So I sort of went away from what I normally do. That's how the draft happens here. Saquon, Najee, high touch guys is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, so I'm actually doing this series on the FTN splits tool, and I actually have a little bit of info on Najee. So if you look at his splits from weeks 11 to 18, it's pretty absurd. I mean, he was producing at a top 3 back. So this is from week 11 through 18, his last 8 games. He was averaging 21 opportunities per game.
Wow.
15 half PPR points per game. And, that's up to the 15 to half PPR points. I mean, that's a CMC and Austin Eckler level.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think Najee is being underrated. And there isn't a lot of backs that we can bet on this kind of volume. And Jalen Warren's a guy that I like, but Najee was dealing with that Liz Frank injury the whole season. And, another season healthier. I do think Najee is one of these guys that's being overlooked a lot in these drafts.
I got in trouble on social media because I said, Bijan, are we sure he's going to be better than Najee Harris? I think you got my point there, Sam. What I'm saying is we're just forgetting a running back who's 25 years old, who's locked into an 80% opportunity share, basically, who gets the ball a ton in a run offense. We're just discarding him because Bijan is great and is in a run-heavy offense in Atlanta. That was my whole point there. Not saying that Bijan's better than Najee. I'm saying we're bumping Najee's ADP down so much further that I think he's becoming a value over Najee, who has to be RB2 or 3. Otherwise, he's not returning his value.
Yeah, it's just this persona that people have about Najee being a plotter, which maybe they're not wrong, but fantasy points are fantasy points. And it maybe Bijan looks a lot better on the field, but I can definitely see their points being relatively similar. So, yeah, I don't think you're crazy with that take at all. And I'd much rather take – you were talking about this dead zone. I'd rather take Najee in the dead zone than Bijan as RB2. So.
Right. I agree. I think, Sam, I got to go wide receiver here. I'm going to probably go straight through there. I know, I like Goddard, but now that I got my 2 running backs, I don't want to take that 3rd running back yet. Obviously, I'm drafting them early, and this is something I think you subscribe to. If you're spending early round draft capital on a running back, you think he's going to stay healthy. It's hard to worry about that guy because you're going to lose out on value somewhere else. So I'm targeting wide receiver. Cooper just went on the turn there. There goes Calvin Ridley. Mark Andrews just went at tight end, of course. Is that I think that's our 2nd tight end that went. Yeah. So basically Kelsey goes in round 1, Sam, and then Andrews is going to go to round 4.
Yeah. I mean, that's great value. That's actually, I want to say that's a pretty nice discount on his, I guess, 32, 37, but yeah. And I do like Mark Andrews. I don't know. I guess I can ask you, do you think he's closer to Kelsey or to the Hawkinson range?
With Lamar Jackson as quarterback, if Lamar is then I think he's closer to Kelsey. And I've said this earlier, put this on Twitter. One of my favorite last round picks in this draft is Isaiah Likely, because if something happens to Andrews, Likely's going to be fantastic. And he's basically free right now. You're getting him around 17 or 18 in this draft. I'm coming up here. There goes Jahmyr Gibbs. I just can't do it, Sam. I can't do Jahmyr Gibbs in round. I can't, but I get it. But if DeAndre Swift wasn't great, we're just discarding David Montgomery. I guess so.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those sexy picks that people like. Top 12 draft capital is nothing to scoff at, but it is a bit rich for me too. Especially this is a half PPR site, so.
I'm targeting wide receiver. Yes. Okay. So Judy just went. I would have liked Judy. Let me go to wide receiver. Mike Williams, Hopkins, Keenan Allen. I like Keenan. DJ Moore. I'm going to take Keenan. I'm sorry if I'm blocking you here. Definitely going to take Keenan Allen with the targets. That's where I'm going right there to give myself another wide receiver. Volume based, Sam. Volume based.
Yeah, I love Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And it's crazy where his ADP is when you think about how he closed down the stretch. I think the only reason you'd be fading Keenan Allen is you're concerned with the injury. And this is a guy that struggled with injury his first couple seasons, but he's been a bankable wide receiver year in and year out. And I think we're sort of overlooking that.
You're up, my friend. Joe Burrow just went. What do you got for us?
I think I'm between – I think I think I'm gonna go with the other Chargers wide receiver
Nice.
here. We'll go with Mike. I need to diversify. That's the thing. Mike Williams ADP is above Keenan Allen, so I'm not getting a lot of Mike Williams. So I think I'm pretty happy that you sniped me here because that'll help me get some exposure and sort of hedge my bets a little bit.
Yeah, you want to diversify. I don't, I saw Nelson Sousa's in our Discord at 8 o'clock today, and he put out an interesting one, Sam. Barkley greater than CMC. So that kind of shook me today when I saw Barkley sitting there. Our FTN guys, you, Nelson, you guys always do change my mind once in a while. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, Arizona goes to Moon Man with the second to last pick of the fourth round. Again, he could get traded and can blow up. I just don't see it happening in Arizona.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I think I'm a little bit higher on Hopkins than where his ADP is. I mean, he's an older wide receiver, but we've seen what he can do with these middling quarterbacks throughout his whole career. I mean, even before Watson, we'd see him put up 1,500 yards with you name whatever Texans quarterback he's playing with. So I'm okay with him. I do think there are some red flags. And it wasn't great down the stretch when Kyler went down, but
yep,
he's just one of these guys that's just a true alpha, and I wouldn't be surprised if he smashes his ADP. So I'd say I'm pretty neutral.
Oh, there, Justin Herbert. Stack it up, my friend. Well done. Okay, so what that means is I am not going to get Justin Herbert, which means I'm probably going Christian Kirk here. That's my guess because I want to have exposure to Jacksonville and the Chargers, and I'm hoping to get he just went, Sam. Come on. Oh, I'm thrown off. All right, let me go back in. Wide receiver. See, all these guys are the same to me. Pittman, Godwin. They just don't do much for me. Pickens, Burke. Do I go tight end? There's Goddard staring at me. George Kittle as well. Running back. All right, I'll take a chance on Mixon here. I'll take a chance on Joe Mixon. I'll take a third running back. I'm throwing Sam already. I wanted Kirk there. Kirk and then Trevor Lawrence for the stack. Very thrown off.
Yeah, it's actually a wild story. I was last weekend here in Cincinnati at the Apple store, and I was at this table with a defense attorney, and he was talking about his job and whatnot. And then he said he was talking about the case that's just giving him a headache. And he's like, oh, this whole NFL shit. And I was like, oh, NFL. And now he's like, oh, yeah, I represent Joe Mixon.
No!
And I was like, wait, so is he going to get suspended? Is there going to be any issues with that? And he said his team right now, they said they'd consider it a win if there's no legal suspension. But he said that Mixon and their team think that even if they get through the legal troubles, they're going to have to go meet with Roger Goodell. And Mixon pretty much asked the team to come with them if and when they meet with Goodell. And I think there's a lot of talk about because the Bengals didn't address a running back that he's sort of in the clear. But I'm talking to him, that's really not the case. And he said the Bengals don't know more than we know. So the fact that they didn't address the running back situation doesn't mean they have more information than I do. So that's sort of an interesting nugget. I've seen a lot on Twitter about people saying, like, yeah, he's in the clear because Bengals didn't address it. But if he doesn't have enough information, there's no way the Bengals do. So that's kind of interesting.
That is massive news that you just – Sam is in an Apple store in Cincinnati talking to Joe Mixon's attorney, folks. I mean, someone get this stream going viral. This is big news, of course, right after I take Joe Mixon, Sam. Not great for me, but great insight. We appreciate that. Absolutely. So who would be – gosh, if he's not there because P. Ryan's in Denver, that could be brutal.
Yeah, I think so. With me right now is he's sort of in the Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, those guys. In a vacuum, I do prefer Joe Mixon to those guys, but I think right now I'm sort of just drafting. I'm not completely fading him because, if he plays, I think he is my favorite in that range. But I'm just sort of using that as a tiebreaker to get some of those guys and not being taking too big of a stand on him just in case.
Excellent point, Sam. Excellent. We see Jordan Addison go. I think that's early for Jordan Addison in my mind. I get it, but Godwin going, Tampa Bay, Ayuk, a lot of receivers. There's 4 receivers. Now here goes Dameon Pierce. Sam, you're sitting right in this RB dead zone very comfortably. My Joe Mixon pick, I really wanted Kirk. Oh my God, Tyler Lockett just goes.
I mean, you still have you have a lot. You got if you want, Laura, you got the Zay, Evan Engram. It's pretty easy to, I mean, I'll take Bigsby. I do think taking Bigsby is going to be pass catching back just because we've seen them not sour on ETN. They're just not using him in that role. But.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely agreed. Tony Pickens. Gosh, I may go tight end. There's my guy Goddard. I like him. I'm taking him. I wanted him every time. I'm getting my tight end there with Dallas Goddard. There we go.
I really do like that Goddard. Honestly, I probably would have taken Goddard there if you didn't. So I really like that pick there.
Yeah, I love that stack though you got with Herbert and Williams. I mean, with Kellen Moore, that could be just dominance, real dominance there.
Yeah, I like the way this wide receiver room's rounding up. I was sort of eyeing Tyler Lockett won a couple picks before you. I could have locked up that double stack there, but
here he is. What is Chowdhury going to do? What is the great Sam going to do here? QB, running back, 3 wide receivers. Where's he going, folks?
I think here's a guy that I think is being pretty underrated. I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson.
Excellent.
I mean, we saw him break the record for most targets, receptions, yards without scoring a touchdown. And you give him 3 to 4 more touchdowns, and his ADP is nowhere near this price. So I think that's a guy that we can look back and look crazy for fading him down. And I reached a couple of spots for him, but obviously I passed up on George Pickens, who's a couple of spots ahead of him, and I do like Pickens a lot, but. One for one, I think I'm pretty easily prefer Deontay Johnson to Pickens, given just the raw volume.
Excellent call. A little sex appeal there with him. Targets last 3 years for Deontay Johnson, Sam, 144, 169, 147. I think that's what we want. Excellent call. Your team is shaping up very nicely. You're 2 away here on the clock. What positions you thinking about here, Sam? You got 1 quarterback, 1 running back, into 4 wide receivers.
So I think there's a tier break at running back with I really like Dalvin Cook and your guy Akers, but I think there's a tier break at tight end. We'll see this guy at the tight end. I think you mentioned earlier that you think the fall off is after Goddard. I think I'd push it to Darren Waller. Obviously, there's concern about his injury history, but when he came back, he looked pretty good. And I do think there is an edge for having an elite. Well, I talked about earlier why I sort of like Travis Kelce in the middle of the first round, and obviously Darren Waller isn't going to be Travis Kelce, but if he can stay close and I can pick up points at other positions, I like that route.
I'm going to take Brandon Cooks here to go with the stack, and I'm hoping to come back and get Dak Prescott. That's what I'm going to do there. Great call with Waller. He could, it could be Darren Waller. You're right, because there's not a lot. Was it Darius Slayton? I mean, waiting for Wan'Dale Robinson to come back. It's a good call, Sam. Waller could be a target hog for Daniel Jones there. Absolutely. We saw Daniel Bellinger produce, for goodness sakes. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And he just fits Daniel Jones' game a lot in the intermediate area of the field, a big body there. So.
Sam, we got a question here from Lee Ving. Lee, I think he's talking about Deontay Johnson, saying, what does he do with all those targets? Lee, we're looking for positive touchdown regression. That's what we're talking about here, right? When Miles Sanders didn't have a touchdown, and last year, Sammy's dancing in the end zone every weekend, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Kenny Pickett, but how much worse is he than, what Big Ben was in 2021? And we saw what Deontay Johnson could do in that offense. So I think... Yeah, I mean, just look at 2020 and 2021 and, take the average, if you will. And, this ADP is still mispriced in a big way, I think.
Yeah, and that's the Steelers. It all goes back to me for Mike Tomlin. I'm already jumping, Sam, on that week 1 line. Lee's laughing at us. That week 1 line getting 3 points at home to San Francisco. Mike Tomlin, I heard he wouldn't survive without Le'Veon Bell. Then we survived with James Conner. I hear we're not going to survive without Ben. Then he survives with Kenny Pickett. Like, he finds a way. He always finds a way. Those targets are going to come there. I get it. Pickens is the shiny new toy, but those targets with Johnson is hard for me to get away from. It's just like touches with Miles Sanders. If you had Miles Sanders last year, he was a league winner, is what he was.
Mm-hmm.
Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers. A little early for Zay Flowers, right? No,
Yeah.
a little early for Zay Flowers. Quentin Johnson, of course, buying in. Yep, got it.
I think this is, well, I think we're just in a really wide receiver heavy room because based on wide receiver rank, it's about accurate, but his ADP is definitely bumped up. I think this lobby is just pretty heavy on the wide receivers.
Yep. We're coming back around. I'm eyeing Dak. That would help me tremendously because it would give me, I got the tight end, I got the quarterback, couple running backs, and then I have to fill in with those late round wide receivers. Although, Sam, you did a great article for us for the Best Ball Guide, taking a look at the last three teams that won. I would tell you, I was not that impressed. Best Ball Mania winners, their wide receivers were not great. I mean, Godwin was not a high pick last year. He was in the middle rounds. Didn't Thornton from New England actually score for him in his championship?
Yeah.
So
both Patriots actually, Jacoby and Thornton made that lineup, which is crazy.
Excellent call. Here goes James Conner, Anthony Richardson, huh? Oh, Anthony Richardson there for Monkfish. Here goes the Cortland Sutton, a guy I love, but it just hasn't been the same since the injury. They're coming back around here. Yeah, it's amazing how you look for the stack. If I had Amari Cooper, I would have went Deshaun Watson. There goes Madison there going in round 8 for Alexander Madison. Could be a home run there. Really could. This guy, Mike Ray, could take a quarterback and really hurt me right here. He's got 2 running backs and a wide receiver. Time is ticking down. Do not do it to me, Mike Ray, 28. Please do not do it to me here.
We'll see a naked
Deshaun. Yep, he took Deshaun. That's it. Let's stack it up with Dak. There we go. Deshaun, Dak. Now we're looking at Sam with the beautiful build here. 1 running back, 4 wide receivers, just perfect balance. He's got a stack. That's why he's the best, folks. That's exactly right. What are you thinking here, Sam?
This group of wide receiver, Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman, Elijah Moore, I think this is kind of a shaky tier for me. I think I might. Here's a guy that I don't necessarily love, but I do think he has upside just because the offense he plays in. We're gonna go with James Cook here.
Excellent. Very good.
And I think him, sharing touches with Damian Harris is sort of baked into his back of the 8th, top of the 9th round ADP. So it's fine for RB2. I'm sort of doing I sort of felt this lobby squeezing me at wide receiver, which is why I wanted to hammer. I already got 4 through the first 7 rounds.
Excellent.
So here in the 8th round, I grabbed my RB2. And at this point, Nick Chubb is going to be my hero RB, and I'm going to slowly in the draft sort of piece together points, get a floor level of production from my RB2, and just feel good about it.
Sam, I love Ramondre Stevenson. I just don't have much exposure to him, but I think he is a guy for a Patriot team that's not, Mac Jones, a lot of checkdowns, 4th in targets. Where are you on Ramondre early? He's always in round 3. I end up not getting him. Either I go with robust RB and then I'm in the wide receiver, or I take 2 wide receivers and I don't want to go there with Ramondre. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think I'd say his ADP is fair. I have a good bit of Ramondre because he moved up, I want to say, around 3-ish spots since Best Ball Mania opened. So I want to say he was around pick 33, and I really liked him at that price. I think after DK Metcalf, there's sort of a teardrop there. Yeah. And a lot of times it was, when DK goes, and I'm actually going to go with to lock up the Dolphins stack.
Nice. Beautiful. Great job. Just an excellent job. Yep.
But I guess I do think there's a lot of upside, and a lot of times I guess it's kind of harder to do now, but I will still shoot for it. If I have Stephon Diggs in the first round, maybe I want Josh Allen in the second round. Ramondre is an easy click just for the Week 17 matchup there. And with Jacoby Myers gone, I'm not really too into Juju. So, I mean, Ramondre can lead this team in targets as a running back. So there is upside, but we know the risk of trusting Patriots running backs.
You said it. Where am I going here? I'm just looking for overall value. I like Samaje P. Ryan. I'm not sure about Javonte. I'll get my second tight end. I think Njoku can be an absolute star. You saw his production. I'll go with the double tight end, which I normally wait a little longer on, but we'll lock it up there with Njoku to give me the 2 tight ends across the board there.
Yeah, I really like the upside of Njoku. And I mean, I think Deshaun Watson bounces back in a big way. And you mentioned Amari Cooper. I love Amari Cooper. I think he was I want to say he was no, I guess it's Cooper Cup was my highest exposure wide receiver last year, which is crazy for a first round pick, but he was sort of falling in the 5 spot, and him and Justin Jefferson were my 1 and 2. So it was an auto click every time for me. But Amari Cooper was right there at second last year. So that's a guy I like a lot. Paid off in a huge way. And that was with Jacoby Brissett. So, we'll see.
Yeah, the consistency, Sam. I mean, he's had 1,000 yards in six of his last 8 years. Targets 108 or more in 103 or more in 5 straight years. 132 last year, which was the most targets of his career. I mean, just super consistency, and did that with Jacoby Brissett and just not great quarterback play, even when Watson returned. I again, give me health of Amari Cooper. I think he's a solid wide receiver, high-end wide receiver too. I really do.
Yeah, I think he gets too much hate for really absolutely no reason. I feel like he got hated in Dallas just because people love CD Lamb so much, but it's
Good
like,
point.
why can't you just like both of these guys? They're both elite wide receivers, and yeah, he's just a clear top dog in the league, definitely in Cleveland. And honestly, I was hoping when the Elijah Moore trade went down, I was hoping Amari Cooper would fall a little bit, but he definitely hasn't yet. But I still like the value. I'll draft him at ADP, and that's a guy that I definitely want to be even more overweight on than I already have. So,
Sam, another question here from Lee. Buy or sell Evan Ingram if you're waiting on tight end? Are you worried about the career year, or do you think Jacksonville's so hot that he's solidly in the mix?
I think he's a couple spots ahead of Njoku, a guy you got, and Freiermuth, but I think he's sort of firmly in that tier. If I wait, so you got Njoku in the 9th round, I think I want to wait till he falls in the 9th round, and I'm completely okay with him there. 8th round, I mean, back in the 8th round is sort of cutting it close, so yeah, I think he's just fine at ADP. He had a career year, and now he's sort of falling down, so he's an okay price. And if you I mean, I mentioned earlier, if you really want to get Trevor Lawrence, that's just a nice little backdoor sack. You can double tap both of them. So he's already ADP.
The QB run has started at the end of 9 into 10. We see Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Jared Goff all going in 3 of 5 picks. There goes Brian Robinson, a guy I like also. I know he's not great coming out of the backfield, but could have some touchdown equity taken this late. But again, the way you construct your team, now I'm looking at wide receiver. And that wide receiver, there it is. I do it every time. Someone's got to catch passes, Sam, from Patrick Mahomes. We'll go with Sky Moore. I have to tell you, he's one of my highest exposed players. So,
Really?
someone's got to be there. I'll go with him. You're up, my friend. What do you got?
And we're going to add to the bet that we made on Miami's offense, and we're going to add on A-Chain.
Nice.
There is a risk that we'll see what happens with Dalvin Cook. I think it looks like if he is to be traded, that Miami could be the top spot. But, I pick 117. That's sort of baking in. It looks like everyone expects sort of a split with Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, but maybe if Dalvin Cook comes in, it just goes from a 3-man to a 2-man with A-Chain and Cook. And Cook is still a guy that, but he stayed healthy all of last season, but historically we've seen he doesn't stay healthy. And we are in the handcuffing tier. We saw Damian Harris go right before me, so we are drafting the RB2s here anyway. So that's a shot I'm willing to take, and it's some ADP value.
Sam, I'll let you pick here, and then I'll just ruminate on this a little bit. Handcuffing running backs. If you draft like a James Cook late, are you okay handcuffing because it's late, or do you not like to lose that sort of equity? After you make your pick, talk on that here.
Yeah, no, I think the James Cook range is definitely the round where it's okay to start looking at handcuffs. I think the whole handcuffing debate is. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead, make your pick. Jonathan Mingo could be an absolute star with Bryce Young in Carolina. Over under 7.5 on the Panthers this year.
I think I got to go under just with the. You know what? You took Sky Moore. Let's go with Rashee Rice and see who gets the right wide receiver here.
Yeah.
One of us has to hit, right?
Could be Rashid Rice. Absolutely. Yep. I guess, the recency bias, the touchdown in the Super Bowl with Sky Moore. But yeah, absolutely could be Rashid Rice. Super, super athletic player.
Yeah, that was sort of, I mean, honestly, at that point, I really had no idea who to take. And honestly, when I'm panicking, you can just always draft a wide receiver and feel good about it. So I do think, yeah, his ADP is getting a bit rich here, but that's another guy that I don't have much of that I'm fine sort of diversifying here.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to wide receiver. I'll go with Romeo Dubs. Maybe I'll come back with Jordan Love in a little bit. Try my second quarterback there, but there's value in Green Bay. It's not a great. Not a great defensive division with Minnesota and Detroit. So Green Bay could move here with Jordan Love, who has experience. So I grab Romeo Dubs there, myself a wide receiver. Not sure where I fall on him versus Christian Watson, but certainly was in the mix.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the best price of the Green Bay wide receivers is Jaden Reed. I think all three of them, it's just a toss up. It's pretty easy to say Christian Watson is a one when we saw what he did down the stretch. But yeah, I mean, I think we've seen all these rookies get steamed up. Even Jaden Reed was, I want to say he was like 17th, 18th round the first couple weeks or so. But even with all the wide receivers rising, let's see what his ADP is now.
It is hilarious. Yeah, Jaden, it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
he's still down at 163, so he still hasn't risen enough. And right now we're getting the training report season. I saw that he was already the number one slot guy as far as practice goes early. So,
oh, impressive. 4.45 speed out of Michigan State. And again, hilarious. They take a wide receiver round 2 when Aaron Rodgers not there. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, Sam. So how much does it, so now I get Romeo Dubs. How much do you think you stack that second QB? If you've stacked your first one like I have with Dak, I have CeeDee Lamb, I have Brandon Cooks. Do you think that should push me to Jordan Love when you take somebody like that? Or is it really, best player available here who's out there? My thoughts on Russell Wilson, who's still hanging around.
yeah, I think so what is your team? What other stacks do you have right now?
Right now, I have Lamb, I have Allen, Cooks, Kansas City, Green Bay. So really, it's just Green Bay, and then Cleveland because Watson, of course, not there. So not a ton of options for me because I went Barkley and Harris early.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to bite the bullet on Love. I'd actually like to know your thoughts about it, but as far as QB pricing goes, I think Jordan Love might be the worst priced quarterback. Like, I don't understand his ADP. He's above Stafford right now, and then you got Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo, CJ Stroud, multiple rounds after him. And I don't really understand what makes us think that he's so much better than those guys. I mean, I'll take the rookies that I haven't seen at all over a guy that, I understand that he's been behind Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know. I just think his ADP is crazy. I still don't really get it. I don't know anyone that's sort of pounding the table for him. So I'd like to know your thoughts about him.
No, it's an excellent point. And I struggle because to me, he's a more expensive Desmond Ridder. Two guys who have question marks. I mean, Desmond Ridder is going as the QB 30 if everyone's right and if Atlanta's good and their offensive line is good. I understand that, but there will be quarterback production besides Bijan Robinson. So, yeah, the way the draft fell and I took Romeo Dubs here, I get it. But, yes, I would rather have Desmond Ridder at QB 30 than take, to take Jordan Love at QB 21 if I don't have any Green Bay. Exactly.
That's the thing, too, is I want to know your team because you might just have to bite the bullet and take Jordan Love because I hate being in a situation where I have to force a backdoor stack and draft a guy that I don't necessarily love. But if you already have Packers, it's whatever. You just got to take the stack and not get locked out. But yeah, in a vacuum, I just hate the ADP.
Yeah, so I got 3 running backs, 5 wide. I got my tight ends. I'm all set there. My last round pick will probably be Isaiah Likely. So I'm good with tight end. I got the 5 wide receiver. My question, Kendry Miller just went. Let me take a look here, see where the QBs are. I guess I got to take Love because it's Derek Carr, it's Love, it's Stafford. Then he's going to go really quickly. After that, running backs, we're still looking at backups here. Tank Bigsby's still there. I'll take Jordan Love now just to get it over with. But yeah, don't like it. Don't feel great about this pick, Sam, at all. But yeah, I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing for all the hate that I gave Jordan Love. You just got to get the stack,
And hope I'm right, and hope you have a big game. Yeah, like people who took Daniel Jones weren't crazy about him, but all of a sudden he had a pretty good week. Who was it that won Best Ball Mania? I forgot the name of the guy who won Best Ball Mania. He had Daniel Jones, but he got outscored by Brady.
Yeah. And, even that was pretty crazy. We don't see quarterbacks besides the top tier put up those. I'm going to take some ADP value and go with Chig here.
Oh, yeah. I love him. If I didn't have him, that is my most targeted, Sam, tight end too, all the time, because I think Tennessee, they're not going to just throw in the towel if they have Ryan Tannehill and a healthy Derrick Henry, right? And O'Connell was impressive last year.
Yeah, and that was with, he only got above 50% of snaps in a handful of games. And we saw, this was a guy that they were dumping off screen passes this guy as a tight end. That's crazy. So, yeah, I definitely like Chig. Yeah, and excellent. I got about 10 spots of ADP value. So,
excellent call. Great call. So coming back around now, you got 2 QBs, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers. There's a good balance, Sam. You're looking at a running back here. You got a 4th running back. You want that 6 wide receiver.
You mentioned Kendre Miller. I was really looking at Kendre Miller here. That would have been my pick here, but I think we'll see what happens. One thing I do like to have around 4 running backs with my start, with the way it started, but I think now the fact that Roshan went with the guy that I was thinking about, I think I'm just going to take one more wide receiver, put a bet on volume with Adam Thielen here, and we'll figure out running back at the end, but we're just going to go with best player available on my board right now.
A lot of touchdown. That's what you want here. Round 13, he gets about 6 touchdowns. I think he's paying off. There goes Cole Kmet. Wide receivers, DJ Chark, Peoples-Jones, Valdez-Scantling. Do I go for that? That's Jaden Reed. That's the answer. If I'm invested, I'm going to be invested, Sam, right? Yeah, we're going with Jaden Reed.
For sure. Yeah. Love that pick.
Yeah.
And I was going to say DJ Chark was at the top of your board. It would have been funny if we got the 2 Chiefs wide receivers and the 2 Panthers wide receivers, see who picks right on this one. But.
Yeah, I almost took Valdez-Scantling, but then I saw that lead. I'm like, you know what? I'll see if I'll get 2 of them. Best ball, Valdez-Scantling could be great. He's just got, if he gets 1 catch, we could be all set. He goes right after. There goes Derek Carr.
Just need that week 17 bomb and you're sitting pretty.
What's interesting, I think looking at this, I made a mistake because I think I could have waited on Jordan Love because no quarterback went until Derek Carr went after me. So it's possible that if I wanted to, I could have taken Gallup for another part of that stack. Roshan Johnson, like you said, Thielen, some interesting players there.
Yeah, it's definitely tough with how far you want to push the needle there, but I think it was the right call. For that's another thing too is I see these guys taking naked Jordan Love, and I think a lot of it is just the ADP game. So you never know with these lobbies, but yeah, I really just don't understand that ADP.
Sam, 0 interest in naked Jordan Love.
Right. Yeah.
No way. I don't. There's just better. Like you said, why not take Bryce Young? They're doing a lot of RPO with Miles Sanders and him in practice. No, absolutely. Don't see it. I get the experience angle, but if we love the experience angle, then why don't we love Desmond Ridder, who's been here for a year, or even Kenny Pickett to that extent? There's an ADP mismatch with Jordan Love. Excellent call. Coming around the turn here, round 14. We are flying through this. Good job here, buddy. Sam Laporta. Sam, what do you think about rookie tight ends?
Yeah, you don't ever want to buy into. I don't want to say you don't ever, but we know how volatile rookie tight ends could be. But let me pull up this stat that I tweeted about the Lions tight end. Laporta is a guy. If you're going to be on the clock soon, it's a guy that I love. But
I'm going with my tight ends. I'm looking at a running back for sure.
If we look at the entire Lions tight end room, so this is when Hockenson was on the team. None of his stats when he got traded, and then the mixed match of Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, James Mitchell. Yep. So they had 93 total targets, which if that was one person, that would have ranked tight end 7. 66 total receptions. That would have been tight end 6. 787 receiving yards. That's the tight end 3. And then 12 touchdowns, tight end 3. 185.4 half PPR points on the season, and that's tight end 3. So the ceiling is through the roof, and that was with DJ Chark, and now we don't have Jameson Williams. So I do think there's a lot of volume in that offense that Laporta can gobble up right away.
Sam, am I crazy? Another one of the picks that I love late, besides likely, is Marvin Jones.
Yeah, no,
right? Like
Big Marv.
Round 17. I mean, he has 6 touchdowns all over him. I'm coming up in a minute here. I got 6 wide receivers. I need a running back. I feel like I need one more running back. We got Barkley, Najee Harris, and who is Mike? And Joe Mixon. That's what I got here. All right, so let's take a look and see what we got at running back. Oh, there's Tank. Oh, I like Tank. That's Chase Brown in Cincinnati, handcuff.
Yeah, that's a cuff that I'm fine doing. And if it depends on how many games Mixon misses, but
you think it'll be Chase Brown?
Price, that's not really hedging your bets per se, because if he doesn't get suspended and Brown gets a P Ryan roll, that's great value in this round.
I took it. Yeah, I took Chase. I like Tank a lot also, but I wanted to secure Mixon. They got me nervous. You're talking in the Apple store to the lawyer. They got me totally thrown off here, Sam.
I mean, I was pretty shook by that too, because I was just like everyone else was, like, yeah, they didn't draft a running back. They're fine with Mixon. But then the fact that he tells me that we don't have enough information. So we have I think I'm gonna go with Tank here.
Yeah, good call. That was my other choice. Yeah, Chase Brown right now 2 in the depth chart. Wow, Sam, if I win the best Ball Mania, I got to give you a massive tip here, because that Chase Brown pick was all you. If Mixon gets suspended or goes down,
yeah,
because it would have been Tank otherwise. There's one of these inflection points here. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if there was no suspension at all, I mean, I would probably be. When I was making my personal rankings, I wanted to put Mixon, a full round plus from his ADP, but I want to stay in line. But so with that being said, he would have been an auto pick for me. But like I said, now I'm kind of just I'll take Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, the guys around him, just to sort of diversify, because that kind of scared me. But and whoever's watching a stream, I don't want you to completely cross him off your pool,
right,
because there is no confirmation that he will be suspended. But I just want everyone to be clear. There's no confirmation that he's in the clear, because that's not the case at all.
Yeah, Travion Williams, Chris Evans, they had a chance to really shine Chris Evans, and they didn't, Sam. That was another reason why I sort of pulled the trigger on Chase Brown there. You were up, my friend. Taysom Hill's gone. I'm sorry, Sam.
Oh, tough. We're gonna go with Devin Singletary here.
Yeah, nice, good. Question, Sam. 3rd quarterback. You believe in it, correct?
Yeah, I think it depends on the draft capital you spend. For you, I think Deshaun Watson is sort of the cutoff for where I'm like not going to go 3 quarterback at all. I think Dak is the first quarterback you sort of start to consider the 3 quarterback. But yeah, every lobby is different. You have Jordan Love as your QB2, so a 3rd QB definitely makes sense. If you had Geno as a QB2, I'm fine not going a QB3, but with this kind of build, I think a QB3 makes sense.
Gus Edwards, Zach Evans, Deuce Vaughn there, Michael Carter, wide receivers, Downs, Thornton, tight end, anybody. I'm going to wait on tight end. I'm going to do it. I've had a belief. I'm sticking to my priors here. I know it's early, but I want him. I'm taking Desmond Ridder. I know that's very early. I understand that, but I have a feeling if the Falcons are really good, you saw the PFF simulation the other day, Desmond Ridder like 5,000 yards. That's not what we're talking about, but Ridder could be decent here. Drake London had a pretty good first year. Maybe they unlock Kyle Pitts to a certain extent. Like you said, I'm a little shaky with Jordan Love, so I could have reached there, but I do like Ridder. I have a lot higher than RB30. I mean,
yeah. I went to UC for college, and after I graduated, I still sort of live in the downtown Cincinnati area, and I still got season tickets to the Bearcats game. So, I mean, I've seen Desmond Ridder since his freshman year, all throughout UC, and obviously I'm going to be biased. I love seeing him play. UC definitely turned it around, and we got into the playoffs with Desmond Ridder, so definitely got love for him. And yeah, I do think he has some upside. He has some sneaky mobility too. So I mean, I think the main risk is him losing his job. I think if they didn't bring in a competent backup, where you took him, this is probably where he would go in this Bryce Young, Jimmy Garoppolo range. But that's the reason why you see such a big gap between, say, him, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Desmond Ridder a couple rounds after that. It's just sort of volatility of him getting replaced mid-season. But if he holds on to the job, he definitely shouldn't be going 2 to 3 rounds after Jimmy Garoppolo. So
no, this is where I like to pick the guys I like. And I like Desmond Ridder. I buy the narrative that they met with Calais Campbell. They showed him tape on Desmond Ridder. They said, we are in on him. We believe in him. Yes, he could absolutely lose his job to Taylor Heineke. But if he keeps it all 16 games, I would bet you, Sam, I get like 2 to 3 usable weeks from him, not only during the bye there for Dak, but maybe one other one if I get lucky.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. And, it reminds me just of Seattle last year. Geno Smith wasn't being drafted. Yep. All the wide receivers were pushed way down the board. We had no idea what to expect from this offense. And, it was a smash. I mean, Geno Smith was drafted in 2% of the entire contest. So wow. Desmond Ridder, he's not getting drafted much at all. So obviously it's a stretch to say he's going to be this year's Geno Smith, but why not?
Yeah, I want a guy. I believe they're committed to him. I want a guy. It's a player that, if Atlanta is good and they could be good in the division, I am not a Saints guy. I don't buy Derek Carr changing teams, new coordinator, new coach, has terrible record. We don't know what the situation with Kamara is, back and forth. If they're down, of course, the Panthers, like you said, you're going with the under there. This Tampa Bay, I mean, Baker Mayfield, please. I think the Falcons could actually be decent if they are. I think Ridder has a chance to give some nice performances. We're in round 16 flying through. There goes Zeke Elliott. Any chance he goes back to Dallas, Sam? I just don't think they're giving Tony Pollard 15 carries a game. I don't.
Yeah, I think my 2 highest exposure guys down in this area is Zeke and Lenny. I'm absolutely smashing these guys. These guys are going to be around 10 ADP as soon as they sign. And I think that's the reason why I'm doing so many early drafts. You have so much risk of having dead roster spots, but just draft Leonard Fournette and Zeke Elliott, and you're going to get so much closing line value. Like, I have to control myself to not just constantly spam draft because I'm taking one of these 2 guys in every draft because I'm so confident these guys are going to rise up, 5, 6+ rounds. And I can, send the screenshot of my exposures because I'm just pounding these guys right now.
That is such a great call. Is Kareem Hunt in there also?
Kareem Hunt, I'm sort of, I guess I'm a little lukewarm on him because we actually did see the drop off with him more than the other 2 guys. The other 2 guys weren't great, but they showed RB1 ceiling. So Kareem Hunt is definitely someone that I'm definitely over the field. If I need a 5th running back and he's there, and he's in the final round, so I'm fine taking him. But I like the other 2 a little bit more.
I'm going to leave Lenny for you. A guy that I'll take later that I talked to you about before we started here. We'll get to him in a little bit. Wide receivers. How about Robert Woods? Consistency late. He's now on Houston. I'll take Bobby Wood. He's not exciting. Sometimes, Sam, you don't need upside. There's something to be said for the Adam Thielens and Robert Woods of the world getting you, consistency late. I'll take Robert Woods there as my wide receiver.
Yeah, if I need a wide receiver, I'm clicking a lot of Robert Woods because when you look at the range of wide receivers down, you got him here in the 16th round. We're close to the 17th right now, the 17th, 18th round. A lot of these wide receivers, we don't know if they're going to see the field, but the fact that Robert Woods has a decent contract, he's a reliable vet, and it's a young group of pass catchers. I think Robert Woods is going to be that veteran presence. And I feel confident that he's going to start in 2 wide receiver sets. So that's just a guy that gives me a floor of points. So I'm clicking him a lot. And I don't feel great about it, but hey, I'm doing it.
Yeah, the upside, the consistency, the upside late in best ball, people sometimes get too locked in on that. Yes, you want the upside, but this is also a chance for you to fill in holes in case you have some fluctuation and some variance with some of those higher players earlier. Yes, I like an Isaiah Likely late, but I also like Marvin Jones. I also like Robert Woods. You saw Adam Thielen there by you, which I think is a great pick. 2 picks left, my friend. You're coming around here. We see Slayton go. You took Isaiah Hodgkins, who was great for the Giants. You are up now.
And yeah, Isaiah Hodgins is another one of my heavy exposure guy. There, I'm sort of betting on the Giants offense with Waller already. Here, I'm going to go with, this is going to be a tiebreaker for me. I have James Cook. So I have a small bet on the Bills offense. So we're going to go with Khalil Shakir.
That was my other choice. It was either Woods or Shakir. Very good. Excellent. Excellent.
And that's the thing. I mean, maybe you do have a strong player taking these rounds, but a lot of times this is how I'll get my exposures in. I'll look at my roster and, hey, what team do I already have a bet on? I like Robert Woods because I have Devin Singletary here. Yeah. I could have gone with Tank Dell. That's another guy that was in consideration with me. But right now, I prefer Robert Woods, which sounds gross, but we have John Mechie, Tank Dell. They got Xavier Hutchinson. I don't know what the rotation of those guys is going to be, but I do feel pretty good that Nico Collins and Robert Woods will be the 2 wide receiver sets. So these early drafts, I want to avoid dead roster spots. I think Khalil Shakir is pretty locked in as a slot wide receiver. We'll see what happens with Deontay Hardy. But like I said, a tiebreaker is I have James Cook is betting on the offense. So I'll get some Shakir here.
You know, a player that I had a lot of exposure to early in my drafts was the one that just went there with Zamir White. You know, in case of break glass, in case of injury to Josh Jacobs, I guess there's Abdullah. There's also Brandon Bolin, but it could be Zamir White, right? He wasn't great, but it's not a terrible pick. Went right before me, where I took Marvin Jones, of course, another 35 plus wide receiver.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad pick at all. And it's pretty crazy the running backs that you see going ahead of them. I'm really interested in how the Minnesota backfield shakes up. I really don't know between Dwayne McBride and Ty Chandler, but both of these guys, they weren't getting drafted at all, but you see that they have an ADP now. People are baking in Dalvin Cook not being on the team, but you see, it's actually interesting. You see those guys, and then you see Michael Carter and Israel Bandicana, and then you get the Patriots running backs. A lot of these guys, we're guessing who the RB2 is, but I feel pretty good that Zamir White is the handcuff to Josh Jacobs, which it's kind of crazy that he's not being drafted at all, which I think that could correct. And I think later on in Best Ball Mania, Zamir White is a guy that I have pinpointed in my notes is you're going to want to draft these guys that aren't being drafted in 100% of draft because it's going to be a smash. You're going to have so much leverage in a large field tournament. You think back a couple years, Elijah Mitchell, Cordell Patterson, these guys weren't being drafted in the 2 to 3% that did have them. We're just lapping the field if they were able to advance. So I think it's a great call with Zamir White.
Yeah, Ty Chandler is the one that I sometimes get exposure to. He's still lurking. I'm probably going to go likely here with my last pick, but Ty Chandler is a guy, he could absolutely end up being that starting running back with Madison. And Madison was not, it seems like he's locked in, but Ty Chandler, 4.38 speed, was drafted last year, flashed a little bit in the preseason. Ty Chandler is somebody I think people should definitely take a look at. If I get Madison, I almost always grab Ty Chandler late, Sam.
Yeah, like I said, I have no confidence in who the RB2 is because I really like Dwayne McBride too, but Ty Chandler was a 5th-round pick last year. Dwayne McBride fell a lot more than I thought, so I can definitely see it being Ty Chandler. I've heard a lot of people steam him up recently too, so yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. But the RB2 in Minnesota is definitely one that I'm going to be digging through the weeds and have my eyes on for sure.
Because they just assume, Sam, it's going to be Madison. There goes Trey McBride. Interesting. Trey McBride, a tight end over on. Billy Muzio just said to us, Ty Chandler is the correct answer. When I put out Isaiah Likely as the last round pick, we had Jeff Radcliffe came in and said he is the likely answer. And then Billy Muzio comes in and says it's Ty Chandler. Coming to the end here, folks. This is a great job, Sam. Great insight, of course, as always. It's tremendous stuff across the board. Coming on the last few picks here. I have 8 wide receivers. I'm good there. 4 running backs is what I'll go with. A little light, but I'm fine with 4. And I'm probably going to grab Likely here will be my selection.
Yeah, you got the hyper fragile.
Yep, with the 4 running backs. But I do have the Cincinnati cornered, I feel. So I feel better doing that, knowing that I have the depth with Cincinnati.
Yeah. It's tough. It's almost really kind of a 3 running back build when you think about it because you have 2 from the same backfield.
And there it is. I am done, sir. There is Likely coming up on your last pick. and then we'll just recap the teams and get out of here. Your build, very solid. There goes Austin Hooper.
And we got Adam Thielen earlier. We're just going to keep betting on the Carolina offense and go Hayden Hurst as the third tight end. I think Waller is the sort of cutoff where you can roll with 2 tight ends or go 3. But I actually do like Hayden Hurst, and I like him at ADP, and he fell well past ADP here. So scooping up some value, betting on the offense. So I like that pick there.
Excellent. We're finishing up. We'll just take a look at our teams here. Great job. Love your balance. Love your team. Your stacks across the board are fantastic. I always want to see who Mr. Irrelevant is. Hayden Hurst, Olamide Zacchaeus, Jake Ferguson, Dallas with the tight end, and the last pick, of course, across the board. Going to the man who had the 101, Dot Alex, coming up with his last pick, and then we'll be able to check things out across the board. I mean, he's really milking it here, Sam. 10 seconds left.
I mean, the players available at this ADP.
Right? You need to have a guy or two. Like, he ran out. He expired. He ran out there. Last pick came up, and we will see where it is in a minute. Let's go. We are completed in our draft. Let's see our players, the queue. My projection. Oh, here we go. There it is. Sorry. Yeah. There's the draft board across the board. Projected 2,938. Let's see where Sam's team is projected. Sam projected 4th there, 2,887. He's got Herbert, Tua, Chubb, Cook, A-Chain, Bigsby, Singletary, nice solid depth. Tyreek Hill, Metcalf, Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson. Boy, that is a strong top 4 wide receiver for you, my friend. Rashee Rice, Thielen, Hodgins, Shakir, Darren Waller. There's Chi, Okongwu, and Hayden Hurst. Great job, my friend, as always, across the board. Really well done. Excellent job, Sam. Very, very good. And that's it, folks. Listen, FTN, we have you covered. We'll be back next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Myself, one other person, and Adam Pfeiffer's going to come in. We got Zach Graham coming off of NBA, so we got great stuff here. Sam, follow him on Twitter. The guy is great. One of the nicest guys in the business, one of the smartest people in the business, at @SC_FFB. Sam, it's a pleasure doing this. We could do this again very soon, my friend. Excellent job as always.
Yeah, I'd love to. I had a lot of fun.
See you, folks.